Welcome to Stuff and Things. My name's Chase.
And I'm Jess.
And this is our podcast where we talk about all the random stuff and things that influences our life and our business and just the general things that we are interested in. And tonight we want to talk about serving our clients and just really serving people in general, really.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of go through how we do it to a degree, the ways that we see just within our own lives that serving has become a part of our everyday, I would say. And then what that looks like within our business. But then also, like, we'll talk a little about how you guys out there can do that no matter what position you're in.
Yeah. So not necessarily just applied to like running or operating a business, but how you can just apply it to your daily life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because we've always felt that service is a big thing for us. Whether it be, through our church or just through doing things for our community or even now through our business or in our daily work lives before we had our own business. We've always had a service mindset that has really helped to drive us to what we feel is what's right and what is good and like the best way to just take care of people, really.
Yeah. I mean, truly, we feel like the gospel is action. I mean, to a degree, yes, we believe that the gospel is, God saved us through grace alone. We don't think that works are involved with that. But we also don't think that Jesus did all of this for us to be passive. We believe that we have these things that we need to do, not to earn us any brownie points or anything like that, but because it's what we should be doing to love others, that loving others is action.
Yeah. And loving people is serving people.
Yeah.
And I mean, it says very clearly in the Bible, it talks about, once you become a believer and you are saved by grace, that the fruits of your life, like your life will bear fruit of that witness of Christ. And so because of that, your life is transformed into a life of service and servitude. And that's really important to us. And so it translates really big into just our day-to-day life and just how we approach pretty much every situation, whether it's our marriage, serving one another or, helping our kids to learn how to serve each other and to be, sometimes it doesn't work out
easier
great.
Than others.
Yeah, they are little kids for sure still. But, and also just in our day-to-day like business interactions, because we want to represent ourselves as well as we possibly can to our clients. But also we want to be able to give them the best opportunity to have the best experience with us.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, we both just got really distracted because there's a huge Japanese peace lily. I don't know if anyone can see it on either of the cameras, but it's in our like music office podcast room and it just like moved.
Yeah, all the leaves just started shaking on it. That was interesting.
It was super weird.
We'll chalk that one up to
airflow.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I for sure thought the cat was in here. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to distract. I was just really distracted. But
5 minutes, we made it without going off rails.
I know. But I said all of that because I wanted to be clear that I do not believe, I don't want anyone to walk away from this believing that we think that your actions do anything to save you.
Oh, absolutely.
Or to bring you closer to Jesus or any of those things. Like, we clearly believe that grace is where it all comes from. And then from God. That grace, our fruits will be our service.
Totally. And so there's a few things that we do that we try to, I guess, really help our community in. And recently, I guess, one of the biggest things is, so here in our hometown, we have 2 groups of schooling with our school district
because of COVID, because of everything that's going on.
So if you're listening to this past 2020 for whatever reason, there's a crazy pandemic and our kids are split. So there's a bunch of kids that are in an all online capacity.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of kids that are in an all 5-day a week in school. And I think it's great that our community offers both of those.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it gives everybody the opportunity to do what's best for their family. But there is a little thing about school pictures.
Yes.
And so every year they have the yearbook, obviously, and everybody gets their picture taken in school generally. And they have a company that comes in and takes pictures.
And they do a great job.
And they do a good job. Absolutely. But this year is different because there's 35% of the kids that are online.
Yeah.
And a lot of the parents don't feel comfortable taking their children in school around a bunch of other people because it kind of defeats the purpose of online schooling.
So there was an offering of the same company coming in, doing pictures. And there were just a lot of parents that shared like via social media that they didn't really feel totally 100% comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And so we kind of felt like, well, we have the means and ability to help out in this manner.
Yeah. So we decided to create a mobile studio, basically.
Yes.
And we worked with our local rec department, which was awesome, to secure a like little pavilion that's at one of the parks here. It's local. And they allowed us to rent the space out for them, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was
and
super great.
We were able to take this little mobile studio with a backdrop and lights and everything down to this open space. And we're offering people online pictures, basically.
Yeah, so that they can still have their school picture.
Exactly.
We've arranged it with the schools to be able to send it in.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to love on our community in that way of like,
yeah, and just donate
serving.
our time and donate our our skills and our ability in an area of need.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first step of service is really identifying a need within your community or within your if your friend group or your whatever your tight circle is, and trying to fulfill that need. Looking at what your strengths and what your abilities are, what you can offer people.
Yeah.
Because everybody has something that they can offer.
Yeah.
Whether it's just sitting there and talking to somebody
Absolutely.
or, building a house. Like, I mean, everybody has a skill set and everybody's able to do something. And so it's just identifying that need that you can fulfill.
Something I've always like thought of when it comes to service, and by no means am I good at this all the time or even close to a percentage of the time, but something I've always thought of is see a need, fill a need. And that's something we've talked a lot about is like when you see a need, you should fill it. Like there's a reason you're being shown this need. See a need, fill a need. And it's really served us thus far. Yeah. And again, like I said, not perfect at it, nowhere near, but it's a good reminder.
Yeah. And we try to do the best we possibly can. I mean, obviously we're imperfect humans living in an imperfect world, and there's no way that we're going to be able to carry this through all the time. But I think that if you are trying, if you're actively seeking those opportunities to serve your community, that's going to be very beneficial. And whether that's just you sitting in the background planning something too. Like we had something through our church this week that was really great. Apparently there's a government subsidy program that makes it so that farmers during this pandemic don't have to throw away their excess food. And so the government's basically paying them for these like groceries that they would be using to send out to markets or whatever that aren't being used right now. And they are allowing them then to donate these crops to local community churches or charities or food banks or whatever. And so our church linked up with this farm that's just north of us here. And we were able to pick up these boxes of food, and they're like 30 or 40 pounds each. They're full of, meat and eggs and cheeses and veggies and fruits and all these things that are great. And they're like 30 or 40 pounds a piece. Like it's a lot of food. Which is amazing. And we were able to get like 60 of these boxes, and we linked up with the local homeless outreach here, and we're able to distribute all this food for free to our community, which is hugely needed right now for sure. With the pandemic that's going on, with so many people out of a job, like a lot of people don't know where they're going to get their next meal from. And so being able to see a need and fill a need in that aspect is great. And I unfortunately wasn't able to like actually participate in this and like go out and distribute the food because, I'm home with our kids doing online schooling.
It's a little important.
It's a little hard to leave
your
three kids.
Your service right now is being at home.
Yes. But I was able to help coordinate volunteers and help to coordinate this food pickup. And it was really great opportunity for our church then to go and serve. Yeah. And I think that was just a really awesome opportunity.
And I want you guys to hear us. None of this, like we're not saying any of these things to toot our own horn or to say like, oh man, we're so good. Look at us. No, I want all of you to think about, gosh, like we're just people, right? Like we are fallible human beings that mess up all the time, and everything is not all sunshine and rainbows, and like we are not perfect, but there are so many opportunities. And I guess that's the reason we share, is more so that you could see like, wow, there are so many opportunities around us if we just look. And if we just look for those see a need, fill a need opportunities.
And you typically don't have to look very far.
No.
You know, even if you're not involved in a church or anything of that sort, like there are so many community programs within, you know, just small metropolitan areas. I mean, we live in a not very populated area, I would say. I mean, the big town next to us is 60,000 people, so it's not a huge city by any
the big
means.
Town next to
but
us.
it's, you know, there are tons of opportunities to serve and volunteer, and especially right now, the biggest thing that a lot of people can do to serve is volunteer with, you know, poll working and voter outreach and things of that sort.
Well, especially because if we think about the majority of people who go and serve in those positions of being poll workers, they're the elderly. And right now it's really not a good idea for them to be out and about and sitting there greeting hundreds and hundreds of people. So if you are an able-bodied human who's able, go do it. It's a great way to serve, especially if you're maybe not a faith-based person, but you do believe in voting and how voting can change things, then go do it.
Yeah. Because it's hugely important. I mean, to vote and make your voice heard. And there's only 10 days left as of when we're recording this here. There's 10 days left to get registered and get out and vote and make sure.
I think registration in Ohio has already ended.
But at least to make a plan and get out and vote. So it's important.
For sure.
But on that note, there is one other community outreach that we're trying to partner with and are partnered with. You know, we are big proponents of equality. And creating equal opportunities for everybody in this country that we live in. And through that, we have been able to partner with a new nonprofit, the Community Alliance for Racial Justice here.
Please go look them up
in Newark. And one of our good friends has kind of headed it up with another friend of hers. And their whole objective is equity for people of color in this region. And it's a really localized opportunity and a localized outreach and a localized market. And I think that is huge, but we've been able to offer, you know, photographic services to them in that realm to be able to help them spread their word visually because it is a huge thing. And I think that's an awesome partnership that we've been able to be a part of. And again, just donating our time because we see that there's opportunity there and we want to serve however we can.
But I also think, you know, things that are important to you, you should be investing your lives in.
Absolutely.
You know, what we fill our hearts with is what our outpouring then is. It is what we end up showing to the world. And so how do you want to show up for life? You know, how do you want to show up for life? Do you want to be self-focused or do you want to be others focused? And like, I feel like that is truly, especially if you're a believer in Christ, that's your call to be others focused.
For sure. And
so I think that you can get involved with things that maybe seem outside of faith, like community justice reform. Like it's...
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily outside of faith.
I know, but I'm saying like it's not a faith-based program. It's not through a church. It is not with any of that. But I think that those are still important things to get involved with, even if you are a faith-based or non-faith-based person. Like look to your community as well. Don't just get caught up in what your church is doing. Look outside of that.
Yeah, because like we said, there's tons of opportunities everywhere. And
so many
in every aspect of what you can think of. And I mean, it just takes a quick Google search to find little things that you can help with.
For sure.
So we'll definitely link the Community Alliance for Racial Justice's webpage in our show notes if you guys want to check them out. It's a great organization and so definitely take a peek at what they've got to offer.
They've got some great things.
Especially if you're local to Central Ohio.
So we kind of want to also focus on what does this look like within our business? We touched on that a little with like that. Yes, we're doing this stuff for a couple other things. That was not very specific. Anyway.
The different ways we're serving in our business.
But I want to look now at how our business serves our clients and how we see that as a way to serve as well.
Yeah, because it's all service, right? I mean,
totally.
Especially with, you know, being a photographer. I mean, we are providing a physical service to somebody,
Yes.
you know, whether in taking pictures, like it is a thing that people do, you know, yearly or sometimes, you know, semi-annually. Like they will come out and get pictures.
Yeah.
And it's a big moment for a lot of people because they usually do it once a year.
Yeah.
And so they want it to be excellent. And a way that we can serve our clients then is by providing excellent service. And, you know, we both come from a long line of customer service.
Yes, we do.
You're working through whether when working at Starbucks for you or me working through the restaurant industry, like there's a lot of customer service that goes along with that and a lot of skills that you get to learn about just how to take care of people.
For sure.
And then when you throw in, you know, religion, like our Christian beliefs into that, like it does help solidify that even more into taking care of people.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to always project is that we are going above and beyond for our clients and everything that we do. Whether that be, you know, communication in the beginning of, you know, being quick to respond, being clear and upfront with all of our communication, clear and upfront with all of our pricing.
Yeah, we never want to like gotcha people. We never want anyone to walk into it being really excited about us and then find out our prices and be like, well, I really want them, but... Or
have there be like hidden things, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you know, this is the base price. And if you want this, then it's this much more. If it's this, it's this much more. And like, we just have very upfront pricing and we stick to it because it's, you know, it's easy for people to see. It's clear. We provide our pricing upfront to people so that they don't have to guess. So there's no like emotional attachment to like, I really want this photographer or I really want this person, which is a tactic in car buying. If you didn't know, they only want you to buy the emotion. And that's why they make you want a test drive because it connects you emotionally to wanting to purchase that vehicle.
Yeah.
And so if you get behind the wheel and you drive the car, then there's a higher likelihood that you will buy that car.
We are the worst car buyers ever because
we're the best car buyers ever because we know the secrets.
We do know the secrets, but also like car salesmen probably hate us because I am not emotionally attached to things
at all.
Really, at all. And so we get into a car and I'm like, I can see out of it. It fits. Cool. Like it is within the price.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the car.
Purpose. Yeah. But and also just, I mean, with me working in the car industry for 6 years, I've learned the tricks of the trade and know how to dodge those. But we want to avoid those tricks of the trade,
Absolutely.
Right? Like the, hard sales of, albums and prints and things like that. Like we saw a trend of people doing that.
Yeah.
Of, like saying, hey, here's your session price and people thinking that that's the cost. But when it comes time to deliver photographs,
yes,
they are hit with costs to own their images.
Yeah.
And we just didn't jive with that.
No. And it's really like, and this is by no means to dog photographers out here who do that. Like,
no, it just wasn't for us.
It's your business. It wasn't for us. We just felt like that felt dishonest.
Yeah.
And that it felt
like a gotcha.
Yes. Like, okay, and now you have to spend all this more money. Like, no, we have no desire to do that to anyone.
So we offer print sales and we offer services like that, but we don't push it.
No.
Like, we give everybody digital albums and digital downloads right from the get-go. And it's a great way to serve our clients in that.
Yeah.
And people have been really excited about that. And I think that's really great.
It's been awesome to serve people like that too. We had the opportunity to do a couple like free sessions here and there. And it's been so great. Like with the school photography that we've done, it's so great to tell the parents like, no, you don't have to pay us anything. Like,
yeah. And so, a lot of people have offered to pay and been like, hey, we want to give you some money for this. But we've instead partnered with our local PTO to create a donation box and like say, hey, instead of paying us, like give it to the schools because they can't have an opportunity to really fundraise this year because of COVID and they can't have their normal auctions and things like that.
So much for our school district.
Yeah. And so it's our little way to give back to them. Yeah. And so it's just like we keep touching on, like it's those little things that you can find. Little ways of finding a need and then filling it. And you can do this in anything. I mean, when it comes down to like our sessions, even, we're bad about this, but
we are awful.
We typically err on the side of let's give more time and more images because we are having fun, or because like the light is just too good to stop. Like, or, you know, the family is just taking such great pictures. And so we're like, let's just keep going. And so, you know, our sessions typically will run, you know, 10 minutes longer sometimes, and sometimes more. But it's a way for us to be able to offer more and to serve more to our clients. And it's that kind of service that then helps us to build good rapport with our clientele.
Absolutely.
And to help them trust us more and help them want to refer us more. And, you know, it helps in all those aspects down the road. But first and foremost, it just makes us feel good because we're like, you know, we took care of this family. Like they haven't had pictures in 10 years, and let's give them some pictures that are going to knock their socks off.
Absolutely. And, you know, something that we have always focused on, is people over profits. We are like, yes, we have a business. Obviously, we need to make some money. That is a thing.
It is. Bills are real.
But we always want to put people and people's needs, people's hopes for their pictures, whatever it is. We want to put people over our profits every time.
100% of the time. Because we know that that service to our clients is going to then create an effect of more people wanting to use us, and which will then help us to build our business up, but also it'll help us get relationships built with more people. And through those relationships, we can share, you know, our story, our marriage, our life, our beliefs in Christ, like all these things with other people. And it's huge. Like it's really beneficial for us to be able to talk to people and be real with people and, you know, to really share us.
And really, honestly, more so than like us getting to share ourselves, we get this beautiful opportunity to know other people. Like the stories that we have heard and just the beauty and love that we have been able to just get a glimpse of has been so amazing.
It's been super rewarding and just super fun. And so that's just a little bit of how we do that in our business. And there's obviously ways that we can grow and ways we can improve. And,
absolutely.
And we're always constantly seeking those ways of, I mean, we were just talking about it today about like trying to push ourselves creatively to be able to provide a more high quality product for our clients. And how can we do that? Like, how can we learn more? Like, what courses do we need to take? What like workshops do we need to attend? Like, how do we need to like challenge ourselves outside of portrait photography to make our portrait photography better? Like, what can we do? And so there's lots of little things that we are always trying to think of in the back end of how we can be better, which I think leads us right into a great little time to take a fast break.
And then we'll come back.
And when we come back, we'll talk about how you guys can apply a life of service to your daily lives, whether it's in your workplace, in your families, or just in your own business. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. All right, and welcome back after that short break. So we just want to talk about how you can apply this to your life.
Absolutely.
Because obviously we can talk all day long about, you know, what we do, or like, and that's
We'd
not
rather
what we
not.
want this to be about. Like, we don't want this to be a session of like, oh, well, look at us. We want to teach and we want to give you application, because knowledge without application is just inaction. And inaction leads to complacency, and complacency leads to you just sitting there doing nothing.
Pretty much.
We want to inspire you guys to take action and to take that step into helping your community in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
Whether that be community at large or local community or your family. Because all three of those are incredibly important. And all three of those have needs. So
for sure. You know, we touched on this a little bit, but we wanted to just give you some ideas. How can you serve your community? There are so many ways. If you are a part of a faith-based community, start there. I know our church has so many ways that you can serve, whether that be through, you know, going to the Ronald McDonald House or going to our local food kit, like soup kitchen. There's tons of it. They, you know, take the youth groups and help with people's yards. There's so many ways you can get involved, and that's a great place to start if you're within a faith-based community. If you are not, check out your local food banks, your local
homeless outreach centers.
Yeah.
You could always volunteer in the jail system.
Absolutely. They're always looking for people.
There's always people that are in need there. There's so many different places you can look at.
You can do, it's not Operation. Goodness. Angel Tree at Christmas time. It's a way to give gifts from incarcerated parents to their children. And you can get involved at local crisis pregnancy centers. I know some of those typically are pro-life. And so if that's not your stance, maybe you can find one that works for you. But there's some great ones I know in our community that really serve single mothers and unwed mothers. And it's amazing. Yeah. Another way you can help is by finding out what kids in the foster care system need and maybe putting a drive together to give out bags of things that they can take to a new home with them.
Or, if you live in a town that has a college or a university, there are lots of kids that are still in need in those colleges and those schools. Our local university here, they have a need for like coats and hats and gloves and sweatpants and things like that coming into the wintertime, because we do have a lot of students that are from overseas that live in warmer climates.
Yeah, so they don't really
understand like how it is to be cold, like how to live in a cold climate. So there's a big need for like coats and hats and jackets and stuff.
Yeah.
And so being able to create a donation drive for that, working with your local PTO,
absolutely,
to do donations. I mean, there's so many opportunities for you to serve in your local community, and then you can look in your larger community abroad, like your county, or even your state, and look at things like we talked about, like working in polling stations, or going out and doing voter registration, or you can census taking
is super helpful,
or even like reaching out to like nursing homes and
and right now that is so necessary.
And it's probably hard right now, in all honesty, to go into a nursing home to serve the elderly in the home, but there are ways for you to be able to donate items like blankets. I know there's a really big national fundraising campaign that's about making blankets. Yeah. And it's a really cool one.
Well, I know our schools this past, like when COVID first hit, they wanted something that would unite the district, kind of allow all of the kids to be a part of something. So they enlisted some of the local assisted living and nursing home facilities to allow the kids to write letters to residents. And right now that could be enough, because just that there's such a lack of connection there, because there have been so many strict things put in place, especially here in Ohio, that limit people visiting and all of that, being able to write and, make them feel loved and important still is really good. Go coach a team. Yeah. There's always going to be a rec department desperately searching for people to coach their kids' teams. And
if you can just show up and be that role model to some kid that maybe doesn't have a role model in their life,
absolutely,
that's huge. I mean, I coach our kids' teams, whether it's lacrosse or football or whatever they're doing, and I'm not super sports minded on every front. Like I played lacrosse in high school, which helps me with coaching lacrosse, but I want to help kids, and so being able to reach out to those people and just coach a team. Sometimes there's already a guy who wants to be the head coach, who knows how to coach, and all he does need is help with just keeping kids in order.
Yes.
And so if you don't know anything about sports, you can still coach a youth sports team.
Yeah.
You can still be that influence and that role model in a kid's life that teaches them hard work and teamwork and determination and all these things that are lifelong skills.
Absolutely.
So that is a big way for people of faith or people not of faith to help their community.
Absolutely. And, there's so many opportunities too to help Big Brothers, Big Sisters, United Way. I mean, there's so many things. If you have a talent or an ability, go teach a class at a community
center.
center. Absolutely. Because there are teens and youth around the country who desperately need those role models and who need those people to teach them awesome skills. It's hope. And where hope is, things can grow.
Absolutely.
Because that's something that we've definitely seen within the greater community of our area, is that there is a lot of hopelessness and it's caused a lot of issues. And I see that people who can give back and provide that hope, even if it is through something, but then that gives them the opportunity to plant even more hope. So I think it's just really good to get involved in your community however you can, with whatever talent you have, even if it's just showing up to listen.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too. I mean, there are a lot of homeless people in this country, unfortunately. And a lot of the times those people don't have anybody to just talk to. And so even if it's just like, hey, I'm just going to go walk downtown and strike up a conversation with somebody and just see if they just need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of homeless people are veterans, which sucks.
It's really sad.
It's heartbreaking. And, you know, a lot of the times they just need somebody to listen to the horrors that they've experienced in their life serving our country. And, you know, some of them have just fallen on hard times and just need someone to be a friend. And there are so many videos online of people doing this, of just going out and just reaching out to people and treating people like people.
Yes.
And loving on them regardless of their situation, that then is a catalyst to those people, you know, getting out of that and rising above that station and being able to really change your life around.
Yes.
And it's not about you doing that. And it should never be about you being like, oh, I helped this person get out of homelessness.
Once ever.
It's just about, like I said, treating people like humans and loving them despite their condition, serving
in that way, when you go about it to put that other person above yourself, to not do it for your own accolades, but to truly humbly serve someone, gosh, it changes you. It changes how you see the world. It changes how you think about others. It changes how you love. And that's really important.
Yeah. And if you really want to get big on community, I mean, there are so many ways that you can serve in this world.
Yes.
You know, there are trips all over the world that are focused on service to disenfranchised people around the world.
Yeah.
And there are so many opportunities for you to be able to latch onto those. And one, go take an amazing trip that's going to be an amazing experience for you, that's going to then change your life and change your perspective on the world.
Yeah.
But also be able to serve people in a very broad way.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's going and helping, you know, homeless people in India, or, you know, the disenfranchised people in India. I mean, yeah, that's a big one. Or, you know, helping street youths in the Ukraine. Like, I mean, you did that.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many things that you can do that are trips that you can just find. You know what I mean?
And I would encourage you, like, yes, it's a really cool trip, but do not go into that situation thinking about it like a vacation.
Oh, yeah. That's not what I was saying by any means.
I know you weren't. I just wanted to clarify because I would never want someone to take our advice and go into and be like, I'm going on an awesome trip. And then that's not the point.
Don't go into it with a tourist mind. Go into it with humility and with service in mind. Yeah. And you will have an incredible trip because it's going to be life changing.
Yes.
Like, but then we can talk about too, like just how to serve your family. You know, cause that's where it really all starts.
Yes, it does.
If you aren't serving your family, especially if you're married, you know, if you aren't serving your spouse, that it's just going to cause rifts in communication. It's going to cause, you know, voids in connection, and it's going to cause issues.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a large issue in this country with divorce, and broken families and homes that are broken. And a lot of that can be mitigated or healed if each spouse is looking to serve one another and not themselves.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Yes, it is.
It's hard to put somebody else in front of you every day. But it's good.
It is.
And, I know that when we're serving each other well, when we're, putting each other's needs first, like we end up being in a much better space with connection and, communication and teamwork with parenting, and just every aspect of our relationship seems to be tighter.
Yeah.
And when we fall out of that and, we turn to selfish needs or selfish ways, like it can cause damage.
Yeah.
And it can cause issues that, are lasting and then take a lot more service to get through.
Yeah.
So if you can focus on how can I serve my wife? Like, what are her needs? What are her desires?
Yeah.
And what are the things that I can do? Even if it's just like, I'm going to do the dishes today, or I'm going to help her with a couple loads of laundry, or, I'm going to go pick the kids up from school, or, she's had a long day at home with the kids. I'm going to take them to the park and just let her take a bath.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Just, it doesn't have to be like grandiose things.
No.
It can be the small day-to-day things that really make a big difference.
And I know some of you are probably out there thinking, well, what if I don't know exactly what my spouse's needs are? Because it's hard. We're not mind readers, nor should we be. That's part of our job as being a spouse as well. But I would encourage you, something we do every morning, and it's not even been something that we've like intentionally put into practice, because we have some things that we do every morning that are intentional, but we kind of have asked each other, well, how can I love you well today?
Yeah.
And more so for us, that means serving, but how can I show up for you
What can
today?
I do for you? Yeah. Like, what are your needs? Like, where are you feeling like lacking in? Like, and that can just be like, hey, I really need some encouragement today because I feel like I'm really struggling with teaching our kids online.
For sure.
Like, they're really testing my patience.
I have a really big meeting today and I'm nervous about it. Like, I'm going to need some extra support through prayer or whatever it is. Like,
or I'm just not feeling like you're being very affectionate. Like,
totally.
And it gives you a space to be honest and open. And that's where it all starts, is with that honest, open communication and talking with your spouse. I know it's crazy. I know it sounds wild, but if you just sit down and have a conversation with your spouse and ask them what they need, they're probably going to tell you.
And for spouses out there, I would also encourage you to do this in a loving manner when you tell them what you need. Do not belay your spouse and tell them like, well, you never. No, just simple. I need your support today in this, or I need this. It's amazing that when we let go of some things and we move past hurts or what, like say, totally just an example. I'm not like saying that this is for real anything, but like say something Chase did made me really mad. And instead of bringing that up in the time when he asks how he can love me and being like, well, if you wouldn't like miss that speck of dirt on the floor, then I'd be happier. No, it's more so, okay, today I need you to show up for me in this way. How can I show up for you? So it's an equal, not just a one-sided thing. It can't be.
Well, because service in a marriage has to be equal.
Absolutely.
If you're only ever giving and your spouse isn't giving in return, like it's going to feel hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause a rift in your relationship. And, and servitude should never be about receiving.
No.
But
so don't expect it.
Make it hard to continue to serve your spouse if they are in a selfish ambition of just taking.
Absolutely. But I would encourage you
to keep serving.
To keep serving regardless, but also go into it with the mindset of you aren't getting anything in return.
Yeah.
Because that's truly what service is.
Yeah.
Having a servant heart looks like doing with no hope of ever receiving.
Absolutely. But also, in that service to your spouse, you're going to then be showing that to your kids.
Yes.
And so that's teaching your kids how to then serve their spouses or to serve their friends or to serve their community. And, and we try to get our kids involved in service projects and things of that sort, or, take them to the Ronald McDonald House with us, or take them to, giving meals to the homeless so that they can then learn for themselves what service looks like. And, I remember last year, around Christmas time, we were doing like a homeless outreach with a friend of ours where it was like a potluck dinner basically. And
she found out that the local homeless shelters at least previously had been closed and were not serving food on Christmas Eve.
So we take our kids to that. And our youngest, Gemma, she was taught like just kind of being a little crazy and wild and like didn't really understand what was going on. And so, you know, pointing out to her and being like, look, these are the reasons why we're doing this, because these people are less privileged or are, you know, struggling or having a hard time in life right now and have less than we do. And because of that, we want to give to them to help them. We want to give in our abundance to help them.
Yes.
Because we can, and because it shows them love and it shows them what the Christmas spirit is about at that point in time. Like, you know, and to see it click in her eyes of like, oh, like it's not about me right now. It's not about what I want to do or how cold I am. It's about me helping these people who literally don't have somewhere to sleep tonight, who are going to be sleeping outside when it's 15 degrees outside, who, you know, don't have food in their bellies. Like, and to see that light bulb come on for her and then her whole day change from that point to like, I'm going to run around and like serve food to these people.
It was pretty awesome.
It was awesome to see that, but she learned that.
Yes.
And it was her doing and her questioning that made it so that she took that on to herself to do that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't us pushing her being like, you have to go and serve on this plate. It was you know, we provided the opportunity. She had questions and didn't understand. We nurtured that in her. And then she was able to go out and serve on her own accord. And so then our kids have looked forward to doing that. They've asked several times this year, like, when do we get to do that again? And it's awesome to see them want to do that. And it just takes a matter of stepping out of maybe your comfort zone, you know, and doing something for other people that are less, I mean, have less than you. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, is just doing it and showing your family and taking your kids and not being like, oh, well, we're going to this homeless shelter. Like, it's not safe for my kids. Like, it's safe for your kids. Like, take them. Yeah. Take them to that place. If it's not a safe place, the shelter will tell you.
Yes, they will. And also, I mean, I think we have a tendency in America to shelter our children and to give them everything. Yeah. And it breeds entitlement and it breeds this toxic privilege that then doesn't allow them to be adults and humans that care deeply for others. Yeah. And I know we have really wanted to set about to have kids who don't get everything they want and don't have all these.
And it's hard.
Like, they're privileged. Don't get me wrong.
And you want to spoil them because they're your kids, but absolutely. Like, we don't want to just bend over backwards for them and give them everything they want. like, they have chores. They have to do things.
There's expectations.
They have to do things for each other. Yeah. Like, and it's just those little things that you teach them that turn into lifelong things that they know.
Absolutely. And so service is just one of those things. Like, we've taken them pretty much on any service project that we've done. We have brought them along because we feel that it's really necessary.
Yeah. And, you know, if that's outside your world of comfort to take your kids to things like that, because maybe you have really little kids, right? Like, yes, like, I understand not wanting to take your 10-month-old baby to the homeless shelter. Get it. Yes. But if you show your spouse that servant heart and you serve your spouse diligently, like, for a lifetime, it's going to bleed through and it's going to show your kids what that looks like. And it's going to show them how to love others. And it's going to show them also what to look for in love.
But it's also about serving your kids. Yeah. You know, I think that parenthood is one of the things that can teach us service and humility more than anything else. Anything else. And, you know, serving your kids often just looks like making dinner, doing their laundry, helping them clean up their toys, you know, showing them how to do a certain chore or whatever that you're asking them to do.
Or just giving them time of playing with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know, taking the time out of your day to make them feel important is serving them.
Absolutely.
And so that's I guess that's our, 2 cents into how to serve your family.
Yeah.
Because it's hard and it's a constant learning and it's a constant growth and it's a constant like changing your heart and your mindset to make it so that you can serve people.
But ultimately, it's showing up.
Yeah.
It's showing up and being a part and being intentional. I know we're all very guilty of being on our phones way too much. But it's showing up and giving that undivided time.
Yeah. Because your kids will take notice and
Yes, they
it's
will.
a big thing, and your spouse will take notice and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And then if you breed that mentality in your family, then it's going to be easier to then step out into your local community and then step out into your community at large and to be able to serve with your family.
Absolutely.
Because it's a great feeling to get your whole family together and to go help people.
It totally is.
And it's a great opportunity to teach your kids what's right.
Absolutely. And then the last thing we kind of wanted to touch on quickly was how do you serve in your workplace, in your business, if you have one, wherever you are, those other, 40 hours a week or more for some of you out there.
I think the simple answer is just giving.
Yeah.
Like if you work for a company, like giving more of yourself to your coworkers, to your clients, to if you're in customer service, to the people you answer the phone for, like just giving more of you. If you own a business, giving more of your time, giving more of your energy, giving more of your profits.
Yes.
Giving more of
and none of
all
that
of that
should look like subtracting from your family or subtracting from those meaningful, important times. Like you shouldn't be giving so much of yourself that you have nothing left to give to your families. But what we mean by that is go above and beyond for the people that you are working with, serving in your job, because if you do that, people will take notice because it's not the norm. Think about all the times you've been to, I don't know, the BMV, because I feel like it's the worst example ever. Think about all the times you've been there and you've just been like, oh my gosh, if these people could just try and like help a little bit or seem like sort of more excited about helping me, that would be great.
I think the bigger token of that is when you have a BMV employee that
exactly my
is
point.
Like so excited to be there and so excited to help you. And you're like, that was actually enjoyable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like, it's just those little things that will make the biggest difference in your day-to-day routine, and it'll make your job easier. Because if you go in with a cold heart and a calloused heart to people, like you're going to get it in return, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if you go in with a heart of servitude of like, hey, how can I help people? How can I do things for people without gaining anything for myself? Like without expecting a promotion or without expecting a raise but how can I help and how can I serve people? Like, man, is it going to like set your heart on fire for people? And then it's going to make it more enjoyable for you to be at that place.
Absolutely.
So the biggest thing is just giving of yourself, loving people and taking care of people that need to be taken care of.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to be clear when we say loving people, we do mean all people. Like
100%.
That's big on our hearts too, is that, we treat people equally, kindly, regardless of anything, that we serve people regardless of anything.
Yeah.
Because who you are, where you've come from, your creed, color, race, religion, ethnicity, you know what I mean? Like all of those things, they don't matter. What matters is serving people, loving them well, and meeting their needs.
Treating people like humans.
Yes.
And loving them regardless of their circumstance.
And that's, also by no means to say like that we discount
condone drug habits or, bad things of that sort. Like you want to love people and help them to get them out of those circumstances. But, you're not going to not love them in spite of those things.
I'm not going to treat someone poorly because of where they're from.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to totally disregard and pretend that they're not from that place. Just be like,
just remove that from their identity
aspect from them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole them.
just love people as humans, take care of their needs and treat them kindly and watch how it's going to change your life.
Absolutely.
So get in the mindset of service and it's going to be great. But with that, we're going to wrap up here. So if you got any value out of this content, be sure to rate it on your podcast service that you're listening to. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think about this. We'd love to hear about your comments and hear about your thoughts and ideas.
Yes.
If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button below so you can get more content from us. Also, click the like button and the bell so you can get future notifications from us when we post content like this. And eventually, we're going to start posting other shorter form videos on our YouTube
at some point
when we get around to doing that. But that is coming down the pike. But thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye.